Hello everyone, Juni here, and welcome to my video on how to effectively manage your retainers. In this video, I will be going over the basics as well as some advanced functions on retainer management, which should be useful to all players regardless of your knowledge of retainers in the first place. And I will be leaving timestamps in the description below for each section, so you can refer to them individually as needed. And I hope you find this video useful. If so, leave a like, subscribe, and feel free to share this video with anyone you think may benefit from watching it. Let's get started. Unlocking retainers. In order to unlock retainers, you must first complete the level 17 main storyline quest titled The Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Once you complete the quest, you must travel to Limsa Lominsa, New Gridania, or Ul'dah to accept another level 17, this time side quest, from the Troubled Adventurer, titled An Ill-Conceived Venture. Once you complete this quest, you have officially unlocked retainers and may speak with the retainer vocate of any major city to hire a new retainer. Retainer vocate locations. If you are level 50 and below, you want to speak with a retainer vocate in Limsa Lominsa, Gridania, or Ul'dah. If you are in Heavensward, level 51 through 60, you will also have access to this retainer vocate in Ishgard. If you are in Stormblood, level 61 through 70, you can go to Kugane and speak with this retainer vocate. Lastly, if you are in Shadowbringers, level 71 through 80, you will have access to this retainer vocate in the Crystarium. Quick tip: retainer vocates have their own unique icon on the minimap. Retainer vocate functions. Retainer vocates can help you hire retainers, assign retainers to a major city, change the appearance of your retainers, and view the current market taxes. A retainer cannot sell anything unless it is assigned to a major city. I mentioned these cities in the Unlocking Retainers section of this video. When you hire a retainer, you will get to choose their appearance, name, and personality. Quick tip: retainers are a great way to save your character creation presets so that you always have them even if your computer gets completely destroyed, like mine. That way, your character creation is saved on the server. If at a later time, you decide you want to change any of those three things, you can use a retainer Fantasia, not to be confused with a regular Fantasian, even though the icons look exactly the same, to make changes to their appearance, name, and personality. Personality only affects what lines your retainer says when you summon them and send them away. You can obtain retainer Fantasias through the Marketboard or as random drops from quick exploration ventures, which I'll talk more about later. When you assign a retainer to a major city, you must speak with the retainer vocate of the city you wish to send them to. So for example, if I wanted to send my retainer to sell things in Limsa Lominsa, I need to speak to the retainer vocate in East Hawker's Alley. You can also check all market taxes when speaking to any retainer vocate. The city of which you choose to send your retainer should ideally be chosen based on the current market tax. Marketboard Taxes. Nobody likes paying taxes. There are two scenarios of which you will potentially encounter market taxes: when buying and when selling. This is very important. Here are two examples. Let's say I'm looking to buy a Night Pegasus whistle. The whistle is very expensive, so I have to be especially wary of that marketboard tax. If I want to buy the cheapest one from Limsa, I click on it and find that I will be paying a market tax of 1,099,999 gil, in addition to the asking price of the seller for no other reason but that I am standing in Kugani territory. The buyer's tax is always 5% of the asking price of the item, regardless of which city you are purchasing the item from, unless it is the home city of the retainer that's selling the item. To avoid paying the market tax, I would teleport to the territory of the city from which the item is being sold and buy it from a market board there instead. From the seller's point of view, the city from which they sold the item will have a seller's tax subtracted from the total asking price of the item. So if you sold an item for 1,000 gil and the market board tax in your retainer's city is 3%, you will make a net profit of 970 gil. Retainer requirements. Another important function of retainers is ventures. You can purchase ventures from your Grand Company's quartermaster in Limsa, Gridania, and Ulda. Ventures are a form of currency used to pay retainers for their work. With your subscription to the game, you are given up to 2 free retainers to start with, and can get up to 7 additional retainers through the Mock Station. You can also get a 10th retainer if you subscribe to the companion app, also through the Mock Station. Retainer interface functions. To access your retainers, you must go to the summoning bell. These can be found in the marketplaces of each major city as well as in housing areas. You can also place them in your home, apartment, or private chambers. You can acquire these through the market board or craft them yourself, and they're dyeable. The order of which you hire your retainers is very important, because if you decide not to pay for them for a while, the game will count backwards from your newest to oldest retainer and gives them a contract suspended status. If your retainer's contract was suspended, you need to renew it in the Mock Station in order to use them and access the items they're holding. When you open up the retainer interface from the summoning bell, you can see some important information. In the upper right of the window, you can see how many ventures you possess. You can also check this from the currency menu under Ventures. The cog allows you to reorder the retainers on the interface, but this does not affect the order of the retainer's contracts, so be careful. You can also see how many items each retainer has in their inventory, the amount of gil they possessed the last time you summoned them, the city of business, and the remaining completion time for ventures. Each retainer can store up to 175 unique items in their inventory, and 9,999 shards, crystals, and clusters of each element. You can store up to 999,999,999 gil per retainer, just as you can on your character. Selling on the market board. To sell an item, right-click a tradable item in your inventory or retainer's inventory. On the interface, you can see the items you currently have for sale on that particular retainer. You can sell up to 20 items simultaneously per active retainer, meaning they must have a contract that is not suspended and must be assigned to a major city. When you attempt to put an item up for sale, you can compare prices with what other people have posted the item for. You can also use the advanced search option to narrow down your search and see what the item has sold for in the past. The history will show the date and time of which the transaction took place, as well as the price it sold for after taxes owed by the seller, and whether or not the item is normal or high quality. You can also check the sales history of each retainer and see how much you earned from selling the item post-taxes. If you summon a retainer, that particular retainer will stop selling their items on the market board until you are done with them. Keep in mind that retainers will only sell an item for up to 7 days until you need to renew the listing. Ventures. While your retainer is participating in a venture, you can see their current progress and lists that in real lifetime it will be completed. If for some reason you decide to cancel the venture early in favor of a different one, the ventures you spent on the original venture that was canceled will not be reimbursed to you. There are 3 types of ventures. The first kind involves mining, botany, fishing, and hunting. This will allow your retainer to gather a set amount of a specific item you have already gathered on your own. This will cost you 1 venture per assignment. The second kind of venture involves woodland, highland, and field explorations. The explorations cost 2 ventures and will send your retainer out for 18 hours. When they return, they will bring back random items and have gained an increased amount of experience. This type of venture would be great for when you know you're not going to be online for a while, or you're going on vacation. These 2 types of ventures will require that you reach the minimum equipment requirements for every specific venture. Quick explorations are the third type of venture and the fastest way to level your retainers. The reason for this is that they only take 1 hour to complete, and if you're actually in-game to send them out every hour, you will have a lot more experience gained than if you just sent them out for 18 hours. What makes the quick explorations unique is that they do not have any gear requirements, so in theory, you can level a retainer from 1 to max level without having to give them improved gear. Quick explorations can also bring back a variety of items, just like longer explorations. Here are some examples of the items my retainers have brought back. Retainer classes. You can assign a class to your retainers by equipping the main hand of a gatherer or disciple of war or magic. It is also important to note that retainers can only be as high level as you are in whatever class you assign them to. So for example, if I was a level 9 botanist, my retainer would hit level 9, then cap out on experience until I continue to level the class on my own character. Also, if I haven't gathered the item before, I cannot send out my retainer to gather it on my behalf. I would recommend that if you decide to designate 1 or more retainers as a hunter, you should make them all the same class. That way for future expansions, you only need to level 1 single class to max out all your hunting retainers. After your retainer hits level 30, you can assign a job to them. In order to do this, you need to obtain a copy of Modern Vocation from a retainer Vocate to upgrade them into a job. This option will pop up when it is available and will cost you 40 ventures to obtain. Another option for leveling retainers is through the Mog Station. The item is called Tales of Adventure, One Retainer's Journey, and can be bought by clicking on the Optional Items tab, then going to the Level Boost section. Depending on when you're watching this video, know that whatever is available will level your retainers to 10 levels short of the current max level in the game. So for example, if the level cap is 100, this item would bring your retainer to level 90, but instead of being labeled as the 2nd edition, it would be labeled as the 4th edition. You can buy this item separately or in packs of 3 or 5. Retainer gear. The goal of a retainer's equipped gear is to satisfy the minimum requirements for the ventures you wish to send your retainer on. From the equipment screen, you can also see your retainer's stats, so you know how close or far you are to hitting your target. I do not recommend equipping any gear other than the level 1 weapon to your retainer until you've gotten them to max level via quick ventures. This is because you cannot sell the gear that your retainers have worn on a venture, since the spirit bond value will go up to 1%. You'll be left with having to constantly change out your retainer's gear, which can be both costly and time-consuming. The only time I think you should change out your retainer's gear before max level is when you need them to collect a very specific item before they become max level. But that is just my recommendation. You can apply glamour to your retainer's gear if you'd like. but as of the time of this video, you cannot apply glamour plates. In order to do this, you would need to remove the piece of gear, place it into your inventory or armory chest, apply the glamour, then re-equip the gear onto your retainer. Retainer housing features. If you own a house, you can place your retainers in the yard. To do this, you need to first speak with any of the independent settlers found throughout all the housing areas and buy an expansion of duties permit for 4,000 gil. Here are their locations. Notice that the independent settlers are not located in the subdivisions. The size of the plot determines the number of retainers you can have on your lawn at one time. For small cottages, you are only allowed one retainer. For medium houses, you're allowed 2, and for large mansions, you're allowed up to 3. If you select them while they're displayed in your yard, they will have similar options to when you summon them normally through a summoning bell, but also some new options. Like the regular interface, you can view items for sale. Visitors can take a look at what you have to sell and buy directly from your retainer without having to go to the market board. You can also view your retainer's sale history from this interface and can choose whether or not to allow other people to see this information. Some exclusive options to this feature include the following: swap which retainer is being displayed in your yard, update your retainer to its current appearance, this will not automatically update by the way, toggle weapons display on and off, and choose between 6 different poses. Bonus section: Mannequins. Mannequins can be purchased from an estate maid or manservant, apartment merchant, housing merchant, and hokunin under the Other category for 10,000 gil. In apartments and private chambers, you can have up to 4. Cottages can have up to 6, houses up to 8, and mansions up to 10. Mannequins are unique in the way they present the product to the potential buyer. You can sell the items as a set, and guests can buy the items right off the mannequin. You can also choose to display gear on mannequins without putting them up for sale. Keep in mind that regardless of whether or not you're selling the item displayed, it still takes up a selling space by repurposing the spots used as inventory within your selling tab. Items taking up space in your retainer by the mannequin has its own special icon, so you can differentiate items that are up for sale and items that are being displayed by your mannequin. Side note: you can tie multiple mannequins to the same retainer and have them sport different gear. Just keep in mind your retainer only has 20 slots from which to sell from, and each mannequin can wear up to 13 unique items. You need to put the mannequin in your inventory, not your storage, to change which retainer is tied to that specific mannequin. I sincerely hope you enjoyed the video and found it very helpful. If you would like more videos like this in the future, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as share this video with any friends or FC members who may find it useful. Well, that's it for now, and thanks for watching. Juni out. Oh hey! Did I mention I have an Etsy shop? You should totally check it out. Also, my friend made a Dragoon guide. You should check out his channel too.